All right. Looks like we are live. What's going on, everybody? So, anybody wants to debate me or come on and just ask me any question, StreamYard's link is in the description, and I can just bring you on screen and we can have a chat. Yes, Marty McFly is first. I may have a debate coming up soon. I may have. Yeah, the debate. Leo Venus agreed to debate me. I might also have another debate with that Xenia chick from last stream. Favorite recent anime? It's got to be Chainsaw Man. I'm totally caught up on the manga. The manga is amazing. Is it Xena or Xenia? I can't remember. Ugh. She used to date Sneeko? Well, that's what she might have meant.
From time to time I like to look up these first time trying vegan videos to see how deep the brainwashing runs. How dumb would you say this guy is? Also Xena is fine AF.
Vegans have had a bad reputation for too long and are often seen as a clown for their lifestyle. With countless memes, obnoxious vegan influencers, and the general misunderstanding of the diet, most people just do not take veganism seriously.
We're looking for no dead animals. What the fuck is this?
The biggest concern of a plant-based diet is that it's harder to get some important nutrients. Protein, omega-3 fatty acids, and vitamin B12
No.
just to name a few. Another perceived negative is the inaccessibility of the diet.
Yeah, protein. Coming from a guy who's built like a fucking daffodil. This is him. And he's worrying about protein.
On the go. If you're someone who can't be home to cook every meal, the options for fast food are not good.
In terms of the consistency of this, they're going with the shoe leather texture.
I was determined to find out firsthand.
Review Bra, like, Review Bra doesn't just review fast food. Fast food is all he eats. Like, you're really going to fucking trust a child with an undeveloped palate to tell you if vegan chicken nuggets are good. The Beyond Nuggets from KFC that they had for a bit were a little tough. Like, just a little chewy, but, like, saying it's shoe leather is just fucking retarded.
The pros and cons of this lifestyle, and to discover if the bad reputation is warranted. Before I joined the dark side of veganism, I set some rules for this challenge. Rule:
You're not vegan.
sad looking meat, but I'm gonna buy it. Rule number 2 is no protein.
I'm sorry. How does that look? It literally looks like a normal fucking burger. So what did he say? No protein powder. I don't know why you wouldn't be allowed to. So you're not supposed to eat like a normal person This this guy is worried about getting enough protein again. I can't get over it.
It's Xenu. She was obsessed with Sneeko, huge simp. They dated and Sneeko would hide it and treat her like shit. She essentially describes being treated like an assistant that was also his prostitute, which caused her to ditch her job at Fresh and Fit.
She can't be too bright to want to be with Sneeko. So that must be what she meant by going after a high-value man and regretting it, but, like, Sneeko's not a high-value man. He just has a lot of money. Like, he's a fucking moron. If that's, like, if money is what gives you value, like, what is value? Clearly it's fucking valueless. Thanks for the donation, though, Caleb.
1 gram per pound of body weight is plenty. That's it. There's only 2 rules.
He really only needs 0.75 grams per pound. I also don't understand why he has this arbitrary rule of not using any protein powder because, again, usually when people are shooting for a pound per body weight, they're going to use protein powder. Really weird.
Adjusting to the vegan diet was not easy. When my very first meal included tofu and I saw the giant block of soybeans come out, my balls shriveled up and went back into my stomach. Every meal of mine included some form of plant protein. Tofu, they came in small amounts and the truth is meats. To get the same full cans of black beans, which would you go for? And if you're somebody with a low appetite like me, eating that much volume is not easy. But it's also not impossible. This is crazy. An oats overnight. So like, it's only vegan. Grab some right now. Qualify. Taking my 6-month pregnancy photos, I just kept eating and eating and eating. Milk and beets. So we get creative. And while I have this one, the option, those are is like list. All or happen in number 1.
Music makes people.
That was a good waste of time. So why aren't any of you fucking jackasses hopping in StreamYards? The link's in the chat. What topic am I debating Leo Venus on? I haven't agreed to a proposition with him, but I intended to debate him on whether or not animals should have rights, because in that dumb video he made, he said animals should not have rights, which is antithetical to the idea of veganism. So claiming you're vegan, but then saying animals should not have rights is fucking retarded.
You will not believe what Ron said about that shooting in Jacksonville.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis was at a prayer vigil over the weekend following a heinous shooting that took place in Jacksonville, Florida. It was a racially motivated hate crime, and 3 black individuals were gunned down and lost their lives as a result of the 22-year-old shooter having so much hatred in his heart that he felt entitled to taking people's lives. Now, I want to show you what happened at that vigil. Listen closely to the crowd and how they feel about Governor DeSantis.
Everybody, we've already been looking to identify funds to be able to help one, make sure there's adequate security for Edwin Waters College. We are not going to allow to be targeted by people.
Sounds like there's a lot of booze in that crowd. Now, a city council member from the area actually urged people to stop booing. I'll give you the details on that in just a moment. But Cenk, you want to jump in?
Yeah, so I like the booing in that context. So generally speaking, when folks are giving a speech, I say, look, protests are great, booing makes sense in certain parts, but you got to let the person speak, right? In this case, they don't have to do anything. Their community just got shot up by a racist Nazi. And did DeSantis help earlier in there? They weren't protesters. They were real people in the community to this guy who's on their side at all. And
What did Ron DeSantis say? There's nothing in this fucking video. There's no Ron DeSantis quote. Thanks, Matthew. Yeah, I guess I should have figured this would basically be the same as Discord, where everybody asks me to open up the fucking Discord, then nobody hops in. It's not Discord, it's fucking StreamYards. It literally says so in the title, dude. My face feels super hot. I don't know why. Prim. Come here. Come say hi to everybody. Prim. Come here. Come here, Prim. Come on, Prim. Come here. Yeah, meow. Come here. Not you. Prim. Son of a bitch. Great. Now you scared the cat off. There we go. Got our first victim. Hey, dude, what's up?
What's up?
Not much, man.
Dude, I wanted to talk to you about yesterday, your stream. You were talking about genetic potential for Benjamin 405.
Sure.
Yeah, so what percentage of the population naturally do you think could actually do it, like male adults over 18?
Male adults over 18.
Like, let's say, like, no, like, physical disabilities, like muscular dystrophy, or
Yeah.
like average height. Well, not average height, like over 5'4".
You're probably talking like under 5%.
Okay, I'm talking like ideal conditions, though.
Yeah.
Like,
You're probably
let's
talking
say
under
it's
5%.
like the number one priority in their life.
Yeah, you're probably talking under 5%.
Hmm.
It's fucking
All right.
hard.
Well, I disagree with you on that. I think it's probably more like it has a lot more to do with like the placebo effect, like whether they believe they can do it and like how much time they have, how much they care about it.
Well, yeah, that
Like
factors
more like
in.
50%.
Like that factors in, but again, like 405 is a lot to fucking press. Like it's hard.
Yeah, I mean that's like probably my worst lift. Like in terms of making progress, it's the hardest one. But I didn't have like great genetics for making progress. Like the people around me were making more progress when I first started lifting, and I've hit 315. So like I don't know, maybe I'm just biased, but I think a lot more people could do it.
Yeah, I don't think
Only
so.
been lifting 6 years. I assume I can probably do 4 or 5 one day. So
Yeah, like, you know, you can look at just the scope of fitness YouTube. So dudes who are really into lifting, how many natties on YouTube are benching 405? Like very fucking few.
I can name a couple.
Well, yeah, there's a few. Like, you know, there's Alex, Alpha
Like
Decimal.
in drug tested meets, like I know there's guys like SSJ Bob, if you know
Oh
who
yeah,
that
he's
is.
fucking crazy strong.
Yeah, Alex Leonidas. Let's see who
Well,
else.
SSJ
Lex
Bob
Little
is not
claims to
your
have done.
average fucking person, though.
Yeah, I'm
Like,
just
isn't he
naming names.
benching in the 500s now?
I believe so.
I think he
Yeah,
did like
that
510.
definitely a genetic outlier. That was a bad
Yeah.
example. Let's see. I don't know. I see a bunch of TikToks of people doing it, but I can't think of one off the top of my head right now.
Yeah, like again, you can certainly find naturals benching 405, but the people that you do see doing it are genetically gifted, and they're like very dedicated to the gym. Like you have to have those two things. Like
Yeah, but I'm saying like if people had just the dedication to the gym, like it's their number one priority, and all they're really going to do, they're just going to eat as much as they need to, be in like a large surplus. Like they have the potential to hit 4 or 5.
Yeah, most people don't.
At least
I'd say
50%.
it's like no, it's like 5%, less than 5%, dude.
Do you think you have any of your own bias?
I
like,
think you would see
because
like
you've gotten injured several times, right? Like torn tricep.
yeah. It's not that I'm just biased because I've had trouble hitting it. Like everybody has fucking trouble hitting it. It's just fucking hard. Like that's why it's a big landmark, right? I think if like steroids never existed, like you'd see very, very few 405 benches.
You said you'd put yesterday you said you think there'd be like under 1,000, right?
What?
Like just people in the world who could do 4 or 5 naturally.
I never put a number on it like that, but like again, I'd say like less than 5%. If we're talking about average person, average genetics, but like very dedicated, willing to put in the time.
What are you basing that off? Like just what you've seen from like personal training, or
well, yeah, like I mean,
like
from clients
sort of, like,
of mine,
studies for progress?
yeah, like clients of mine, seeing other people that I've trained with, just general experience, you know, being into lifting, seeing how many like natties even on YouTube who put extra time into like training, like more than your average person, even those people have trouble hitting 405. So I would say it's probably less than 5%.
Like in terms of like well-structured programs, like they actually like put together like a mesocycle where they're like switching rep schemes like every couple weeks or something like that, and making like small increases rather than like huge jumps in weight, or like random PR attempts that aren't programmed, like worrying about their central nervous fatigue. Like I really see rarely that any of the natties in the fitness industry are actually like optimizing their training. So I don't know. I feel like the potential is still way higher. Like I definitely believe I can do it still. And here, I'll tell you why I think I don't have that great of genetics. Like when I started lifting, I believe I was 14 in my like sophomore year of high school weightlifting class. Like I was in like a group of 4 boys, and like everyone's max was between 75 and 95 on bench press. And like at the end of the semester, I was the only one who still couldn't do 135. Like everyone else could hit it. But when I got back into lifting again at like 17, like I made progress a little faster just because I cared about it way more. I was eating more and like training like multiple hours a day. So I feel like my genetics for making progress are not that great, but I mean, I still hit 315. So if I can do it, I feel like most people could.
No. Like just the fact that you hit 315, I think shows that you have decent genetics. It's probably average. I think in all likelihood, since you're talking about starting lifting at 14, it's just an age thing. Just you needed a few more years for like your hormones to get higher and shit, and you just needed to grow more too.
I mean, I did grow a little bit after that. I was probably done with my growth spurt by 17, because I'm 5'9" now, and I haven't grown since then, and I'm 23 now. So
I didn't stop growing in height until I was about 22 or 23.
yeah, do you think you made a ton of progress after that though?
I had
Like after the height spurt, that's what like put you over the edge.
like some of my lifts actually went down after I grew taller. So yeah, I think it might be a leverage thing that gave me a bit of problems, but I also like I've had really bad depression for the longest time. So I didn't make much progress in terms of like absolute weight lifted, because I'd like be able to train for a few months, then I'd get super depressed, stop training, and then I'd start training again, and like that cycle would be on repeat. But
Yeah, well, I think with your general population, you see a ton of the same stuff. Like they'll make good progress for a couple months and then fall off. Like for people who are actually consistent with a caloric surplus of like, I don't know, 100 to 500 calories, they're warming up properly, they're planning out their training, and like they really care about it. Like there's no way that they're not gonna have a decent bench press.
well, I would actually disagree with that.
Okay,
There
can
are
you name like
people.
an example of like your clients who you've seen like do everything correctly, like and like behind the
So
scenes, like they're doing
all
everything properly?
all my clients that I've coached that wanted to increase their bench, they all ended up getting like good benches. So I think one dude was stuck at like 280. I got him up to 335. Current client, he started at literally just the bar. He was recovering from cancer, and I think now his best was 220, but he probably could have hit 225. So
And how many years for that client? Like how many years since
that
the
was
cancer now?
well, the cancer, I think he was in remission for like maybe a year or like a few months. I can't remember exactly, but when he started, he was literally just benching the bar, and then within a year, we got him up to like again 220 for a max.
I
So
mean that's a 200-pound increase in 1 year there.
yeah,
So let's say that
but
if he lives for another decade
my
with like the same
well,
care for his workout.
he has a particularly strong bench, I'd say. Like he's just good at benching, but I've seen people who really fucking tried hard to get a big bench, and they couldn't even get to 200. The dude I'm talking
Yeah,
about,
yeah,
who's
but
like
I was
some
saying for like
Armenian
for
guy.
situations like that, like I want to know what was going on behind the scenes,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
what their hydration, sleep, warm ups, and like training mesocycle was like.
Like there are some people who are just genetically fucked, and they're just not gonna have a big bench.
Yeah, yeah, that's why I'm saying not
Yeah.
100%. I think 50% of the population, like over 5'4", no physical disabilities, could
I would
bench 4 or 5
say
if it was their number one priority.
I would say your average man who really dedicates himself to the gym, trains super hard, like does everything right. I would say you're probably looking at like about 50% being able to bench 315. But to get to 405, you're talking about under 5%.
Okay, well, I at least kind of agree with you on the 315 part. I think that's probably about 60%. If you can get to 315, I feel
Well,
like within another 5 years you could hit 4 or 5.
those numbers are weird. How can you be like at 50% of the population benching 405, then 60 with 315?
I mean, because it's less than 1% for 315 and 405 for the entire population.
Well, yeah, but that's not including.
Yeah, all it really has to do with is just dedication to the gym. Most people are not going to be in the gym long enough to hit 315. They're not going to care about it that long in their life.
Yeah. But again, like what average male is like 5'10" and around 180, something like that.
So wait. Here's
and I
another
think
reason
that's
that I
overweight.
think you could possibly be biased, because I followed your channel for a while. I remember back in the day, you said you were doing like long bike rides to the gym. So I assume you were probably in like a huge deficit. So
Well,
you
I
definitely
was
wouldn't be
doing an
making a
insane
ton of
amount of
strength
cardio.
progress back then.
Like,
Yeah, exactly. You were in a
before.
caloric deficit. So
Well,
there would be no way to make a ton of strength progress.
I'm not basing like my estimates for, who can get X amount of strength based on like my own personal experience.
Yeah, well, I bet you were still trying pretty hard back then. But
My focus was cycling.
okay.
Yeah. But yeah, like you're talking about like less than 5% of people. It's just not realistic to expect somebody who's like between 5'8", 5'10", starting at around like 160 pounds to eventually end up benching 405.
Well, that's literally going to be me in a couple of years, though, because I started 5'9", 155 pounds.
Yeah, but again,
And well, currently I'm about 30% body fat. I'm 5'9", like 225.
yeah, but
you know,
like,
because it matters to me, I'm going to eat a huge surplus. I'm going to get there. So
yeah. Well, I got up to 380 and like for my bench, and I weighed 290. Bench.
Yeah, I mean, I still think you can hit 405. I don't think your like warm-ups are optimal, or something you've been doing is getting you injured.
No,
Well,
what
there's gotta
happened
be a
with
reason
my
you keep getting
elbow?
injured.
What happened with my elbow was I was mountain biking and I fell on a rock on my elbow and I broke my elbow, and then my tricep tore right at the break. So that's what happened.
Okay. Wait, so you were still benching with a broken elbow?
Yeah. Right after I broke my elbow, I hit a PR.
Did you
of
not
two-
realize it was broken or something?
Yeah, I didn't realize it was broken. I hit a
Okay.
PR on the overhead press. It was 225 for sets of 3, with a broken
All
elbow,
right.
and it was right after I broke it too.
So where's bench at now?
It's down because I had to take some time off because of the tear.
Down at like
last
300-ish,
session.
or?
Well, no, I could probably do like 330, 340 for a single, but I
Okay,
did
yeah.
280 for 3 sets of 10 the other day.
Yeah. So, how many years has it been since the cycling focus transitioned to strength?
It's got to be like 4-ish years, probably 4 or 5.
Yeah. So
Something like
that's
that.
only four years of solid progress on strength work.
Yeah.
Like I bet you could probably do 500 naturally if you're willing to get up to like 320 pounds.
Well, I could get up to 320 easily.
I mean, it wouldn't be a comfortable way for you to be at, but I bet you could get super
I don't know.
high.
With extra training and just having more muscle mass, it probably would. I didn't feel bad being 290. Like, I've lost about 20 pounds since starting my
You're
diet, but
let's see, 6'3", right?
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I still feel like you could get way higher than 405.
Yeah, again, like it's a lifetime goal to get to like 500. I might try that.
So let's see, 4 years of solid strength work. Yeah, I mean, by the time you're a decade into that, there's no way it's not going to be way above. Maybe your perspective will change on what's possible after that.
Yeah. All right.
I mean,
well,
personally, like I'm trying to hit a 700 conventional deadlift at age 25. So
yeah, I want to get up to a 700-pound deadlift too. I've done 500. I could have done more. I think I could have gotten like 520 or something, but didn't want to hurt myself. But I'm gonna try to get it to 700 and a 600 squat.
yeah, I mean, shit. I think we're just at a disagreement. I don't think we're gonna resolve. So
Yeah. Well, keep lifting, man.
yeah. Oh wait, actually, I had a question for you on it's a veganism question. So I've seen some cereals have like fortified vitamin D3 in them. How do I know if that's vegan or not?
It's not vegan, unless it's specifically stated that it's from Lycan. It's not vegan. It's
Okay,
gonna be
well,
from sheep's
I guess
wool.
I'm gonna have to stop eating those then.
Yeah. In Canada, because vitamin D is added to milk, a lot of the cereals that aren't vegan because of the D3 in the States actually are vegan in Canada. They don't bother adding the D3.
Okay, interesting. Well, I mean, I live in the United States, so
Yeah.
not gonna lie to me.
Yeah, you just got to fly over
Right.
here to get your breakfast cereal.
Well, peace out, man.
Yeah, no problem, man. Take care.
Yeah.
That was a nice chat.
Also, for the love of God, Ron, prayers don't do shit.
Yeah, they don't. I'd be pretty fucking pissed if I was in a mass shooting and then somebody said, "You have my thoughts and prayers." Fucking cunt. Thanks for the donation though, Matthew. Appreciate it. The only path to $20 is this you when you wear a hoodie. Let me see. I don't think that's me. That looks like a gorilla. But thanks for the donation. The only path gave me a few others. Oh my god. That is a guinea pig. I hope that deer is okay. That looks like it's the second floor. Oh my god. That's a really sweet rat. Look, he has a teddy bear. Wow. Oh my god. It's a really nice fucking cow. He wants a snack. Well, thank you for that, Thy Only Path. Appreciate it. Thought you said before the amount of D3 is so small it doesn't matter. I don't recall ever saying that. Oh, just read the title. The StreamYard link is in the description. If you want to come in, you can debate me on anything or you could talk about anything. Yeah, a lot of cheaper brands also don't have D3. You can find like knockoff cereals. Man, I would love to just eat some nice big bowls of cereal. That'd be fantastic. You legit sumo pulled 575. Well, you know what I'm gonna say. If it's a sumo, it doesn't count.
Maui, 5 years ago, talking. Enjoy.
Oh my god. Let me see this.
Maui.
Wow. That cat can talk.
Oh my gosh.
Holy shit. Thanks for that, Thee and Thou. Appreciate it.
You destroyed that panel yesterday. I was watching rooting for you so hard against those degenerate fucks. Good shit, bro.
Well, thank you. Even though I didn't win the kick or keep It was at least a moral victory. And yeah, I just wrecked all of them. They're all fucking morons. Thanks for the donation, vegan with a huge cock. Alright. Hello, sir. Are you there? Apparently there is a person here. Yeah, that was super frustrating talking to those people for sure. Oh, hey. Are you there? I heard noises. Ugh. How does this guy not hear me? Like, I can hear him typing. He's at his computer. Does he not have his fucking headphones on? Look at fucking Mai in the background here.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. What's up? I think he needs to check his audio settings.
I can't hear you, but I can see the subtitles on stream.
Yeah.
But it's delayed. I don't think that'll work. Do you know how I can? I don't know how to. My headphones aren't working.
He needs to. It's
Some
probably just
settings?
an output setting on StreamYards. Yeah, too bad we can't get the cat on. Maui.
In StreamYard. Oh, I can hear you.
Hello. What's up?
Hello. So I heard your position on cardio and basically breathe your breath, like how fast you breathe is it can like you can like kind of track calories with it, track how many calories you are burning with it. Like
No.
effectiveness of cardio.
I never said tracking breathing can estimate calories burned.
Like you said with running, like how hard you breathe. Like when you run and jump, like you said, jumping is more effective because you breathe harder, right?
No.
I thought I heard you say that.
Nope.
Really? Do you remember saying anything remotely close to that?
No. The only thing I've said is you can adjust how many calories you're burning in a single session by working harder. So within a
Okay.
30-minute period, you could like swim faster or run faster or whatever.
Okay, I must have just been mistaken. Sorry about that. Yeah. All right, thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I was gonna try to hang this from my nose, but I'd have to clamp it too tight. Fuck. I don't know why my throat's so congested-y. All right, sweet. Got another. Hey, dude, what's up?
Quick question. What exactly is the topic of this StreamYard, please?
What topic? Whatever you want.
Oh, so like any topic?
Yeah, you can debate any topic.
Okay.
Or just ask me whatever
I
question.
regret to inform you that that kind of topic is pretty fucking boring.
All right then. "13-year-old humor." That joke didn't even work. I said you can literally talk about anything, and he's like, well, that's boring. Like, nice try, dipshit. Hello.
Hello, is my microphone working?
Yep, it's working.
Okay, hi, nice to meet you. Big fan. You motivated me greatly 2016 or something when I started working out.
Alright, sick.
But yeah, no, I wanted to ask you about your stance on gun laws.
On what?
What was your position again? Gun laws.
Oh, yeah, I'm very much pro-gun. There should be very few restrictions when it comes to firearms ownership. Universal background check should really be all that's required, and outside of that, there should be training offered for the use of these firearms, maybe for certain guns like open bolt machine guns. I would say you might want to actually have mandatory training, because there are some weird issues with those guns in particular, where if you don't know how to use them properly, it could cause safety issues. But aside from that, yeah, the only thing that should stop you from owning a firearm is just, not being able to pass a universal background check.
So not even regular mental health checkups or anything like that?
No. So regular mental health checkups, no. There's already there's already provisions in the law that would prevent somebody from owning a firearm, or, like the need for red flag type laws are kind of redundant. They don't do anything. So there's already provisions in the law that would kind of protect people from mental health issues.
Is this like a common laws, or just like in Canada, or?
Well, yeah, at least in Canada. I don't know about in the United States, but in Canada, there's no point in having things like red flag laws just because they're superfluous. There's already provisions in the law that would take away somebody's right to bear arms if there's suspicion they have
I'm
mental
looking in
health
from a
issues.
bit of an outside perspective, coming from like Germany and shit.
Sure.
So it's a bit of a culture shock thing, I guess you could say. So, for example, if I look at America, the extreme example, accessibility to firearms seems overly accessible, especially for people that shouldn't have firearms or shouldn't be trusted with firearms. Wouldn't that be still the case, that the laws aren't necessarily protecting?
Sorry, what are you saying?
Like, wouldn't you say that in America, for example, the extreme example, the laws aren't really doing enough?
No. The reason there's so much firearms violence in the United States is because of organized crime. It's not because the laws are inadequate.
Oh, I thought it was because of bad mental health.
I
like
mean,
most commonly.
Well, if you're talking about mass shootings in particular, sure. But I think it's more of a cultural issue.
But yeah, obviously, culture plays the biggest role. There's many countries where guns are very common. but
Well,
there isn't even close
it's
to.
yeah, it's the thing to do in the US if you're mentally unstable and if you have like certain political beliefs to commit a mass shooting. It's just kind of the cultural thing.
Yeah, there's still one foot in the Wild West, kind of.
Sort of. Like if you're talking about mass shootings in particular and not just all shootings.
I'm talking more all, but yeah.
Yeah, but if you're talking about all shootings, it's entirely driven by gang violence. If you're talking about mass shootings in particular, it's a combination of culture and mental health. I'm sure there's these wackos in every country. It's just that these people don't really get the idea to commit these mass shootings in somewhere like Canada or Switzerland, just because it's not the thing to do. There's basically a culture of mass shooters online who are sort of in competition with one another. They want to outdo the last mass shooter, and it's considered like the easy sort of way to actually get notoriety.
Oh yeah, I saw that with the guy that like openly said that he watches Tim Pool and he like tried to deny it or some shit.
Yeah.
The
Tim
guy
Pool
denied
tried to
it was-
deny that he was a fan of his.
Right. So then, from your stance, what would you say would be a solution to the issue, for example, in America?
Well, the solution would be to try to eliminate organized crime. Best way to do that, in my mind, would be to legalize drugs and sell them below cost.
Like just all drugs?
Yeah. Yeah, that way you would get rid of most of this gang violence because, again, they wouldn't really have anything to fight over. It's all drug trafficking, and if they can't traffic drugs because the government's selling them below cost, they can't make money. That was the whole reason for the explosion of violence in the 90s.
Okay. Is it really just drugs that are like the primary issue in America? I thought a lot of it was because of disadvantaged neighborhoods and being like a big thing.
Well, yeah, that's part of it. I mean, you see areas like Chicago. It is largely driven by poverty. So, well, income inequality is a driver. But again, the big way these gangs make money is through drug trafficking. If you can take away their primary income source, they would have to find some other weird way to make money, and it would probably not involve like turf wars. Probably. Because again, it just wouldn't really be worth it. The type of things they would be selling wouldn't be worth enough to require firearms and having these turf wars.
Okay. That seems to make sense to me. All right. I don't think I have much more. Thank you for talking to me. Very educational. And have a good rest of your stream.
Yeah, sure. Take care, man. Yeah, the idea of keeping drugs illegal is fucking stupid. You're like, what has it done? All these people are still addicted to fentanyl. They're still getting weed, they're still getting heroin. So if the government were to sell these things, especially below cost, you'd get rid of organized crime. Because like, why would somebody buy a more expensive and probably inferior product? Like, they just wouldn't do it. So I don't know what the implication would be when it come like what would happen in terms of actual rates of addiction. There's conflicting evidence and conflicting theories. So you can look at things like needle sharing programs. Needle sharing programs do technically make drug accessibility easier, but at least in a few districts, it's actually resulted in less drug use. So, accessibility doesn't necessarily equate to more use, but the primary thing I'd be concerned with is organized crime. Hello, sir. What's up?
Hey, it's me. This stream's pretty boring.
Oh, fuck. No, did I change some fucking setting? Wait. No. Crap. Guests. No. There we go. I think that guy's banned. What a dumbass. There's a dog in the background there. See the dog? It's a good dog. Would you visit Estonia? I don't have any particular reason to go there. My grandmother's from Estonia, but I don't have any particular reason to go there. Got another. Hello. What's up? Do you hear me? Hello? No, I've never been to the UK. Is there a wait for Streamlabs? Not really. These chats haven't been particularly long. All right then. I guess he didn't have his microphone settings in order. Hello.
Yeah, and this stream's pretty boring.
Fuck. Well, at least I banned him. You ever check the FPV drone hobby? It just started. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I've known of it for a while. Might get a DJI drone, not sure. I might. Hey, what's up?
What's up? So I was thinking about threshold deontology.
Sure.
And there was, maybe I just have a misunderstanding, but I was comparing it to utilitarianism.
Okay.
So I'm utilitarian, by the way. And so if utilitarianism is mostly about maximizing pleasure, and then with threshold deontology, if there's like your main sort of thing that you value is rights and until a certain threshold. So it seems that like what pleasure is, at least in my view, is the satisfaction of desires. So when it comes to threshold deontology, if you just if you just desire, if you think a world that includes some protection of rights is more desirable, how is that different from a view of like maximizing pleasure?
Yeah, so there are circumstances where I think most people would say the protection of rights is more important than maximizing pleasure. So say if 20 men were raping one woman, the only way to stop or prevent them from raping that woman was to kill them all. I think most people would say, okay, well, you're eliminating like 20 people from the population who could experience well-being in the future. But you're doing that in the interest of protecting that woman's rights. Now, you could have, I think a utilitarian position would result in you having to let that woman be raped, so that 20 people could go on to experience whatever well-being in their life. So, I think you're just going to end up in a situation where, where we have the interest of, creating outcomes that we want. And I just don't have any sympathy for, perpetrators, people who are violating the rights of others. But I do have sympathy for the innocent. Now, there is a threshold, let's say the entire planet were to try to rape one woman. Would I be in favor of, annihilating the entire human species? Just so one person doesn't get raped? That's kind of in an extreme where maybe in that circumstance, just because of the, the extremity of the situation where you're going to have, no future for the human race because everyone's dead. Yeah. I think threshold deontology just ends up making more sense.
Yeah, so I mean, I can see sort of the practical differences and how a threshold deontologist would make a decision versus a classic utilitarian. I just struggle to see how the ultimate value is different. Again, if pleasure just comes down to the satisfaction of desires. So as far as threshold deontology goes, it just seems like the claim is that a world that protects rights is more desirable.
Yeah. Yeah, at least for me. And I think it leads to better overall outcomes.
So yeah, so then I guess I would just struggle. It seems like the threshold deontologist just comes in and says, "Hey, we know how to do utilitarianism correctly."
No, because again, you're often in situations where you do generate more harm. It's just that, again, I personally do not have sympathy for somebody who'd take the rights away from others. I don't just have the interest of maximizing well-being. I just don't have any sympathy for the perpetrators.
Okay, so you would bite the bullet on making a slightly to moderately less happy world if it meant the protection of rights.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And your value of rights, what does that come from? Is it just sort of intuition or?
Well, it's just one of my axiomatic beliefs. I don't know of any way to really justify it. It's just something. It's just one of my preferences. Would you personally be okay with the idea of you getting tortured for the sake of many other people, I don't know, benefiting from it?
Yeah, I actually do hold that view. So I am a pretty down to earth utilitarian, but I'm also not a moral realist. So I don't hold the view that utilitarianism is the objective. I just have the intuition that I ought to be tortured if it means increasing well-being. Yeah.
So you think you should have your kidneys stolen if it would save the life of somebody else?
Yeah, I do hold that view.
Okay. I think that's
it
insane.
gets it becomes really complicated when we start looking into the broader aspect of potential consequences. But in a vacuum, I think the doctor ought to harvest the organs if he can get away with it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's insane. And I think most people have an interest in protecting themselves. And I think they also have an interest in protecting others. So the only way to really do that is with rights. If you're going to have a purely utilitarian position, yeah, you can have your organs stolen. You could be like horrifically tortured or mutilated or killed for the interest of others. So I think the only way like society really works is if there is some kind of concept of rights.
Well, I mean, you could have some sort of rules that would look something like rights in a utilitarian. So it makes sense.
You could,
So under
you could have
utilitarianism,
something that looks like rights and have utilitarianism. It's not necessarily mutually exclusive, but again, it would be hard to set any kind of distinct rules because you could have a marginal situation where, okay, breaking that rule would create more well-being. So you don't really have rights. You only have privileges when the circumstances interest you.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I would agree. They're not like entirely rights. They look something like rights. But yeah, in a utilitarian like world, it would still make sense to have some sort of like laws against murder or things like that.
Yeah, but again, that's only circumstantial. It would be under the circumstance where it interests all parties.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't want to live in a world where I can get my kidney stolen. I think most people wouldn't. And there's just...
Well...
Again, I don't think anybody has to act in the interest of others. I think the only responsibility you have is to not violate the rights of others.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't hold that view.
Well, let me put it this way. You have a keyboard in the background.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that keyboard probably cost a few $100. That few $100 might actually be able to save several people in Africa. Are you being utilitarian? Like, so...
No.
I don't think you actually believe that idea that you have to maximize well-being. Because, again, I don't think your life would be dramatically worsened by having that keyboard. And you would be able to save the lives of probably several other people. You can look at like statistics when it comes to donating a certain amount of money to certain charities, how many lives that would save. Like you could probably pay for somebody's food for years with that kind of money, like starving people. So I don't think you really believe in this idea that you have a responsibility to maximize well-being.
So yeah, so I kind of have an answer to that. So I do hold like the Peter Singer position about the drowning child, and I would just say that by buying this keyboard, I did the wrong thing, and I'm constantly doing the wrong thing. But I do kind of view morality on a scale of like the moral rightness or the moral wrongness of an action.
I don't think you really believe that. Do you like genuinely feel bad about buying a keyboard?
If I reflect on it, then I do. But like in the moment of buying the keyboard, I'm excited. I'm a musician, so I like to write songs. So I'm excited to have a keyboard to, write songs on. But on reflection, yeah, I should have just donated the money to a charity.
But do you like actually feel bad? Like, does it keep you up at night? Do you get that like nagging feeling in the back of your head that like you shouldn't have done that? I just have a hard time believing that you'd actually feel that way.
I do feel like I can always like do more, and I'm not doing enough. But I do think overall I'm on the scale of I'm over the line of like I'm generally increasing utility. I'm vegan. I don't buy I don't have a ton of possessions. I don't even like have a bed currently. So I live a pretty minimalist lifestyle. My piano and my computer are probably like the most expensive things I have.
All right, yeah, like we clearly have different values fundamentally, but yeah, I would just say I just don't think a world where people can steal each other's kidneys is a good world to live in. Even if, in theory, it generates more overall well-being, I just don't like the idea that anybody can have their rights taken away given a certain set of circumstances.
Well, what if the society didn't know that it was happening? Like, what if again the doctor got away with it?
Well, I think you'd know if you have a kidney missing. I don't think it really results in lower life expectancy, but you do have to piss more often. And again,
Which is-
if you do have injury, like some sort of kidney injury, well, then you're kind of screwed and then you have to steal a kidney from somebody else.
So I'm just talking about like in principle. So I wouldn't hold the view that in the real world we should like be stealing kidneys. I'm talking just, but in a vacuum, right? If a doctor could steal a kidney, get away with it, the person doesn't realize they've lost a kidney. It doesn't like create a society where like that's now like seen as like an allowed thing.
Yeah, I still think that's wrong. So if you're gonna like the rape analogy would work perfectly with this too. If there's a woman who's unconscious and somebody wanted to have sex and then raped her while she was unconscious, she would never know about it. You've then increased well-being in the world because the guy who's looking for sex got pleasure from raping the woman and she didn't get any harm from the rape. Like, do you think that's a good thing then under utilitarianism?
So the first thing to mention is that like, in my view, rarely does like sadistic pleasure actually bring about well-being. But if it did, then
it's not necessarily
I would hold
sadistic.
that. I would hold the view.
So you'd support that idea if it weren't like sadistic and it happened in a vacuum.
Yeah. I'll basically kind of bite any bullet on this. Like, if it increases pleasure, then yeah, I'm.
Yeah, I'd say that's fucked up.
Yeah, I wouldn't say so, but I can understand. I used to say that like I know when I first got into like sort of like moral philosophy, I was like a utilitarian, and then I was introduced to these like reductios, and it felt weird, and I sort of became sort of more of like a threshold deontologist, and then I reverted back to utilitarianism, just because I think upon reflection I realized the thing I really cared about was pleasure. And actually we've seen this too. There's been like I mean I kind of just showed up here, so I don't really have like the studies with me, but there's been like studies showing that upon reflection, people tend to be more sympathetic towards utilitarianism.
Maybe, but I think the way it's talked about, it's usually talked about in a kind of giving, compassionate sense. So when you talk about utilitarianism as like giving to charity, and I think people kind of more intuitively agree with it, like, oh yeah, increasing well-being, that's good. I think it's a little more heady to talk about rights versus just well-being. But again, like, pretty much every society is structured in a way where you use threshold deontology. I think there's a reason for that. I don't think societies can really exist with this idea of just pure utilitarianism. Like, if we do, like, do you think like nobody should be able to have any wealth? Like, do you support the idea that like maybe a government should oversee wealth and all money should go to like a centralized system and then be distributed like relatively equally, at least, you know, like things like that?
I'm not
like communism's never really worked, but it was this idea of spreading wealth equally, trying to benefit the most amount of people as possible. You could say like there are some utilitarian beliefs within communism, but like it's just never really worked.
So yeah, I mean, utilitarianism is consequential, right? Like it's a so like I'm a consequentialist as a utilitarian. So if we try something and it doesn't work, I don't see why that would
So
be
you'd support
utilitarian.
threshold deontology if it produced the most amount of well-being?
Yeah, I would.
Okay, yeah, it's kind of ironic, but all right. I think we kind of are at a point where we just have to like agree to disagree because we clearly just have fundamentally different ethical beliefs. Yeah, but it was a nice chat, dude.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Thanks.
Yeah, take care. All right. Hello, sir. You've been waiting for a while.
Oh, it's all good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
How's it going, man? Big fan of you.
It's going good, thanks.
It's got a few topics.
Sure.
I don't know how long it'll take, but so first thing I'm on a list is like just wondering your thoughts of like all of the negativity around plant-based capitalism and like, is it good for veganism? Is it good for animal rights? I always think it is, and I think it's, you know, a good thing that Burger King has vegan options, whereas, you know, it increases convenience for people. But I just want to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I know there's some far left-wing vegans who are socialist or communist, and they think that would improve animal rights in some way. Well, the only real communist country right now, well, at least close to it, is China, and they have the worst animal rights in the world. You also have like South America that's fairly socialist, and again, they do not have great animal rights, so I don't see a correlation between socialist or communist governments and animal rights, especially these days with the mass starvation under communism. It seems to have created a situation where these communist governments actually have an interest in just letting people have really lax policies when it comes to food, just because of how paranoid people have been in the past of, food scarcity. So I think that's a big reason why you see like these wet markets in China, people eat dogs, crap like that. And on top of that, in a communist or socialist system, you just have more bureaucratic bloat. So if there is an interest in making, vegan food or something at a restaurant, you have to go through far more bureaucratic steps, convince like an entire organization, change the food supply to actually get that done, versus with capitalism, if some dude who's just crunching numbers and sees there's a lot of demand for these vegan foods, he can just with a stroke of the pen say, yeah, make this product, make everything vegan.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, like the common thing that people say is just, you're paying for this company, you're supporting Burger King, right? That's usually what they say. And then of course you have the argument of like, oh, well, do you support a supermarket in the same kind of way?
Yeah, there's no
like
difference.
It's like you go pay, right? So I guess we're on the same page there. So thing two was, what's your opinions on like the whole controversy and like allegations around Impossible Meat and like their trials of, them being like animal testing and how it's continued? Or I don't know much about it. I've read like one article or two and heard people talk about it.
Yeah, I changed my view. So the only way for them to actually get approval to be sold in certain supermarkets and to be sold at like restaurants and shit was if they did these trials, and they've made a commitment to only do that once. So you can like crunch the numbers. What was it, like 9 rats killed, and they only need to sell a certain amount of burgers to actually save one whole cow. Like it's only a few hundred or something. So they've had to have sold in the hundreds of thousands of burgers right now, so probably thousands of cow lives have been spared to save 9 rodent lives. On top of that, these rats likely would have still ended up being used for research anyway. So them choosing not to do the study probably wouldn't have actually spared any lives to begin with. If they made like some sort of commitment to have continual ongoing animal testing, my opinion would probably be different, that it's a non-vegan product. But yeah, since it's only one time, the only way for their product to even be viable was to do it, and considering the amount of animal lives it's saved, like, yeah, it's shitty, but it's a better outcome than them not getting to market.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Yeah, I read something, some people just talking, there was some article about where it was there, it made it sound like it wasn't a one-time thing, or it might have happened on like 2 occasions, and then I don't know, like the person was also talking about how they linked up with other non-vegan companies to get their product in, so it was like kind of like guilt by association, I guess, like with these other companies. But yeah,
like there has been some, I think what you're talking about is they've gone to like trade shows where they promote their like Impossible Burger with like bacon and cheese on top.
oh yeah, that was in the conversation. Yeah,
yeah,
it's like
it's stupid, but they're trying to do their best to sell the product, and they're non-vegan company. It's just that they happen to be selling a vegan product.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. So, other thing, what's your opinion on like vegan activists and people saying religion doesn't mandate meat eating? Because I'm pretty sure it does, or at least it outlines what animals are to be eaten and are not to be eaten. I know Gary in his famous speech, said that. I know that, I know you don't like Joey Carbstrong, but I know he says that too. What are your thoughts on like that statement? It kind of turns me off. I really feel like vegans shouldn't be talking about how religion doesn't mandate meat eating, and they should kind of address it that it does, or at least outline it.
So in both Christianity and Islam and in Judaism, it's clearly stated that, God created all beasts, like you have dominion over animals, you can eat them. So clearly, if an all-powerful, all-knowing, all-wise being tells you it's okay to eat meat, that would suggest that you should probably eat meat. It makes that suggestion at the very least. And when it becomes a problem, too, with vegan activism, because jackasses will fucking use God as a reason for why it's okay to eat meat. So religion is a problem for vegan activism, and it does promote meat eating. On top of that, there are some religions that have ritualistic animal sacrifice.
Of course.
Islam right now is really the only religion that I know of. There might be some other fringe ones, but as far as the major Abrahamic religions, where they do regularly practice ritualistic sacrifice. So yeah, religion does promote meat eating.
Yeah. All right, cool. We're on the same page there. And then lastly, but like a year and a half ago, I decided to take a liberation pledge where I won't eat with any animal products on the table anymore, or at least make that statement towards people. And I think it has really improved my life, and well, socially no, but in terms of like a ethical comfortability, it really has.
Sure.
Just want to know your what are your thoughts on the pledge?
Yeah, if you don't feel comfortable eating around meat eaters, that's fine. I don't think anybody should have to take the Liberation Pledge where you don't eat around meat eaters. In some ways it can be good, some ways it can be bad. Like I know a lot of vegans get pissed off and mentally fucked up seeing people eat meat around them all the time. So for your own personal well-being, that might be a good idea. certainly, like, certain friends or family might be encouraged to go vegan if they really care about you. If you say, I'm not eating with you anymore, they might be
Right.
encouraged. But like the flip side of that is if you're not around eating with them, like those are all opportunities you can have to argue with them and try to convince them of
Yeah.
veganism. So
Yeah, like it took me a while to like actually deliberate on actually doing it or not, like because that's what I originally thought when I went vegan like years ago. Like it was originally like, you know, I was very much of the opinion that like being there, being at the table, you know, will spark conversation, will do that. I don't know. Like over the years, I guess I just got slowly more out, you know, eroded away, and you know, just I don't know. I don't really believe that anymore. Maybe in certain like perfect scenarios, but I just feel like people look at you like you're, you know, fucking, you know, just some idiot, and they don't take you seriously at all. And so
yeah, I'm kind of lucky. I don't really have any friends that eat meat, at least not close friends that I hang out with. And the only family that I really ever visit is my mom, and she's vegan.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, it's one thing I struggle with. Like, you know, just it's
I'd
like
say
probably
it's just a
the
personal
deepest
choice. You have to like really think of it about whether or not it's good for you.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's great for me. I was just gonna say something like in terms of like friends and family who aren't vegan, like I greatly cut ties with a lot of them. Or at least, you know, only on certain occasions. Even just, you know, chat and socialize. But I have, you know, I have like best friends and friends who are not vegan, and you know, we have a lot of things in common, but it's just such a big, you know, massive ethical hole that just like kind of eats away at me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know. It's probably my number one, you know, source of depression, I guess, or at least any kind of depressive feeling.
The thing that annoys
I'm sure
me
you
the
relate.
most is the dishonesty, because they come up with bullshit to justify it.
Yeah.
If they're actually genuine and tried to make good arguments and they actually believed it, I probably wouldn't get so pissed at people. But if you're like Destiny, where you keep digging for, you know, the next thing to use as an excuse that you don't actually believe in, and it's all motivated reasoning, then yeah, I would unfriend people like that.
Yeah, yeah. I've had pretty deep conversations, and it's kind of led to biting the bullet. Usually, like they're intellectual people, and they're smart. They just just have fucking evil beliefs, I guess. But
yeah,
it is what it is. What can you do? All right, man. Thanks, and great job yesterday. By the way, that was very entertaining. I don't you fucking punch your screen.
Yeah, it was some of it was entertaining, some of it was just teeth grating and annoying.
Yeah, yeah. The rotund man was particularly frustrating.
Yeah, I hated him.
Yeah, but all right, man. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, no problem. Take care.
Appreciate it.
All right, next guest. What's up, dude? Ligma, what's up?
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Hold on. So the first thing I was going to ask is, do you know a channel named Atheist Republic?
Do I know of a channel named what?
Atheist Republic.
Atheist Republic. No.
No, Atheist Republic.
Atheist Republic?
Yes.
No. I don't.
So there's this guy named Armin Nawabi. He's been on Cosmic Skeptics channel a couple times now, and he said that he likes to get defensive, like an argument against veganism.
Okay.
I wanted to know if you can debate him. I don't know if you want to check out his stuff, but
it's Atheist Republic.
Yeah.
Okay. I can check that out. I'll check it out and see if I can get him to debate.
Okay. On that, and also on the abortion topic, because he thinks he holds a crazy belief where he thinks it's okay to kill the baby as long as it's in the womb.
As long as it's unborn?
As long as it's in the womb, yeah.
Okay. So if it's like moments before, birth.
Yeah,
they can
it's
still
the
kill
second
it.
or like,
Okay, that's kind of retarded.
yeah, that's what I'm saying too. Was the last guy or the second last guy who was talking to you about Beyond Meat? You said something about that they saved a number of cows that were
Yeah,
depending on
so
the number of burgers that were sold.
if people are buying Impossible Burgers as opposed to real meat burgers, that means less cows are dying.
Yeah, but I was gonna ask, doesn't that only apply because? So let's say the people that were vegan before, those are the people that are more likely to buy the Beyond Meat burgers, and the people that are meat eaters, they're probably the ones who are still gonna buy meat burgers.
Well, that's
So how do
true.
you
So
know?
that would factor into it, but a lot of people have eaten Impossible Meat. There's a big interest even among non-vegans to eat meat alternatives. So even though not all the numbers, like not every person who's buying the Impossible Burger is vegan, it would probably still be the majority of people buying it. Because again, vegans only make up like 3% of the population.
Is it global, or is that just in North America, or is that first world population?
It's pretty much universal. You might see a much higher percentage of vegans in places like Vietnam.
Wait, what? Vietnam?
Yeah, Vietnam, probably India as well. Where else?
Yeah, I don't buy India so much just because there's so much vegetarians there, but I don't think there are any vegans. Well,
there
not
are.
that many.
There are. I think there's actually a vegan town in
really?
India. Yeah. So there are, but especially if you look at like Buddhist countries, so like Vietnam, Japan, you're probably going to see higher percentages than just 3%. Might be like 5 or 6 or maybe more.
Mm-hmm.
But again, like the majority of people who are buying Impossible Burgers, they're non-vegan.
Okay. One thing I don't know. Last thing I was going to ask about the sentience of a fetus. So that's the now Avi's pretty much putting a 2-month precautionary principle, so 78 weeks.
You mean 8 weeks?
Wasn't it 7 to 8 weeks that the?
Oh yeah. I
weeks?
think you said 7 to 8, something like that.
Yeah, so he said that roughly. What was the reason behind putting a precautionary principle on the line?
Well, it's because that's the earliest time a fetus might be sentient.
And how do you? What's the deductive reasoning behind figuring out whether it's sentient or not?
Well, there's things like non-reflex neural activity. There's evidence that a fetus at that age can actually feel something, and it's not just a reflex.
Okay, I'll look into that. All right, thanks.
All right, no problem. All right, got one donation. I don't know if somebody became a member or if a member asked something.
How long before meal do you have your green smoothie?
I don't have any green smoothies at the moment. I just have like a fruit smoothie. And that's just the first thing I eat in the morning. You can eat a green smoothie whenever you want. You can have it with a meal, after, before, eat it on its own. It's up to you. Thanks for the donation, Jalen. Hey, dude, what's up?
Hey, what's up, buddy? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So I just want to preface this discussion by saying I'm a big fan of you. I like what you do for the vegan movement and everything.
Thanks.
I did have a bit of critique on what you said about Dr. K on the Keep or Kick stream.
Sure.
So I thought it was a bit uncharitable of you to say that all he does is promote medieval medicine.
I
He
didn't say
does
that's all
actually
he
have a lot.
does. I'd say he's untrustworthy because of it.
Okay. Yeah, because I actually watched the original Reckful interview that he had. And he actually goes over the sorry, man, I'm a bit nervous.
Yeah, it's
I
okay.
usually don't talk on streams like this. But he actually goes over the efficacy, or how the fuck do you say it? Efficacy of dialectical behavioral therapy for those who have borderline personality disorder. So he actually went over a paper too. I can't get you the particular timestamp because I don't remember which one it was. But I know the whole thing with Dr. K. I've been following him for about 2 years. He tries to mix kind of like Eastern perspective with like the Western world and the different takes on medicine and everything.
Sure.
So I know that's his approach. But other than that, I do agree with you on your deep fake take. I think Dr. K was wrong on that.
retarded.
But I just wanted to say that I think it was a little bit uncharitable of you. But
Yeah,
other than that,
I could
big
see
fan of you,
when
man.
specifically mentioning Reckful. Sure, that I could acknowledge that. But yeah, the fact that he was promoting
the
Ayurveda.
Ayurveda shit. Yeah, I agree with you. I'm not a big fan of the Ayurveda shit. But like I said, he's way more nuanced than that. Like I said, he has multiple videos where he actually breaks down the neuroscience of like different disorders such as anxiety, depression. And he does actually, within 5 to 10 minutes of the interview, Reckful was telling him how he was taking psilocybin to help with his depression. And Dr. K actually like mentioned that there was a study that shows like how, I don't know if it's microdosing or whatever, but psilocybin can help alleviate symptoms of depression in many people who suffer from clinical depression.
Yeah, the problem that I have is he's had so many like weird takes that show he just does not have great judgment or great critical thinking skills, to where I just wouldn't trust anything he says. Like, he might delve into the science, but I don't know if it's accurately being represented.
I
Because,
gotcha.
yeah, like the Ayurveda crap, he claimed that homeopathic medicine might work. He just said the evidence for it's mixed when it's absolutely not mixed. So like,
Yeah, I
when he
don't agree
says-
with that whatsoever.
Like, when he says things like that, it's like I just don't trust him to accurately represent science.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do like the stuff he mentions about meditation. I do think meditation definitely has some kind of therapeutic benefit for those who suffer from anxiety and depression.
Yeah.
I think there's been, don't quote me on this, take what I say with a grain of salt, but I think there's been studies that also show that meditation does help. But yeah, the other shit he mentions, like homeopathic medicine and whatever you mention about the onions, yeah, obviously I think that's quite irrational as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just wanted to point that out. So that's all. But
All right.
like I said, big fan of your content, and I like what you do for the vegan movement.
All right. Well, thanks, man.
All right, take care.
Take care. Let's see, Kid Boo donated $2. You got to see this shit.
In the US, your wife could participate in a gangbang, divorce you, and still get paid alimony.
Well,
That is not true. So, marriage is a contract. Typically with marriage contracts, it's literally even spoken out as a vow that you will be faithful. If your wife is unfaithful, oftentimes what will happen, if you can actually prove infidelity, is she doesn't get alimony. She may also lose out on claims to property rights. Like, if you bought the house, sometimes the value of the house will get split up between you two. she might actually lose that stake in property. So that's not true. What?
How many kilometers did you use the V-Strom for in 2022? Like this?
In 2022? I'd have to go down and take a look, but it should be around like 12,000 or okay, we'll just take my key and look at the odometer. I haven't really used it much this year, so just deduct like maybe 1,000. Yeah, again, just take a look at the odometer. I remember pretty distinctly. I think it was 12,000 for 2022. Yeah. Yeah, but I had the V-Strom for longer. Wait, no. The V-Strom would probably have been around... It probably would have been about 6,000 in 2022.
6,000 kilometers?
Yeah. The Ural would have been 12,000.
No professional, ethical psychiatrist would live stream his therapy sessions to an audience of thousands for money, let alone have an unclear relationship with a suicidal person where they may or may not be their doctor, creating plausible deniability.
Yeah, it is kind of weird, the shit he does. Like, if you have somebody who has suicidal depression and you want to do what is essentially a therapy session with them, it's probably inappropriate as an actual practicing doctor to have it live streamed. Unless maybe the patient suggested it or insisted, but again, it's questionable what was going on there, for sure. Thanks for the donation, Caleb.
Steve Harvey's wife just cheated on him with like their personal chef and their butler or whatever, or the driver or something. And now she wants like $400 million for their divorce.
It just sounds
I can almost guarantee you she's not going to get any money because, again, if he can prove infidelity, she'd probably not get any money.
like victim whining to me. Like I think the
Wait,
guys,
victim?
you guys have to step up and be confident that you're picking the right woman.
Well, don't root the butler.
Her excuse for this is you have to pick the right woman and not say these women just obviously have an unfair advantage.
I should explain root means in Australia.
But you're removing hold on. But you're removing all accountability from women. Like
No,
as
I'm
if,
not.
Yes, you are.
So step up, pick the right woman. But if she ends up cheating on, like,
well, I
is
feel
that
like
still your fault for not like
in
people
Steve
cheat?
Harvey's situation? I feel like it's different because she had like 2 different relationships before then, and one of them was in jail. And Steve Harvey took in her she already had kids before him.
Okay.
What does that matter? If there's infidelity, you broke the marriage contract.
So lots of red flags see that he ignored.
He took her in, took her kids in, adopted her kids, but she was messing with him while she was still with somebody else. I think he went to. That's why she started.
Well, yeah, he fucked up, but should he lose like $400 million?
Started messing with him, but she already had kids by the dude who went to jail.
Yikes, dude.
If the guy
That's a
cheats, does the
yikes.
girl get more money than her?
There very clearly needs to be a cap put on like alimony or like severance, whatever you want to fucking call it. Because generally speaking, in most countries, it's like 50% of what you as a couple have earned. So when you're talking about somebody who's like a mega millionaire, there's no way you can justify a woman getting hundreds of millions of dollars in a divorce. They should put like maybe a $300,000 cap or something like that. Like when you're talking about giving somebody millions, it's like fucking crazy. But yeah, there's not really much point in watching the rest of that.
Just giving you props for last night. I watched 90% of that cast on the Raj Royale every week years ago, and it was a trip to see you with them. Even better to see you own them all. Did you know about any of them prior? Like Wes BTW? He's such loud mouth.
Yeah, I don't know any of them. I had no idea what I was getting into. I hated Wes. He was the biggest dickhead. I was glad to kick him off. Thanks for the donation though. Quest, appreciate it.
You know XQC has an ex-girlfriend that is trying to divorce him in Texas and claim they were married via common law when they never were. She was able to acquire his McLaren and access to his properties till recently. It's a viscous court battle for his wealth.
Usually with common law marriages, if you own like the deed or you like paid for, you know, the car or whatever, like it's yours. So that's weird because if he's the one who bought the car, the title's in his name, that's his car. Unless he gave that car to her as a gift or something and it like the title's hers, I don't know how the fuck under a common law she could get some of the shit. That's bizarre. Thanks for the donation though, Caleb. Like again, they really need to put a cap on how much women can actually get from a breakup. It's just so fucking stupid. Thanks for the donation though, Caleb. Hey, what's up? All right. Wrong one. It says, I don't know why it always does that. Hey, what's up? Well, should have seen that coming. Hello, what's up?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hey, so why do you think I should be vegan?
Because I believe animal rights are an extension of human rights, so if you believe in the concept of human rights, then you should believe in the concept of animal rights.
So is it about animal rights or reducing suffering?
I just said rights.
Because I live in Texas, and I'm pretty sure you said on the debate with no bullshit, you said you're for killing invasive species.
I didn't say invasive, I said odd order predators.
No, I can literally send you the clip. I have it.
I didn't say invasive species, I said odd order predators.
Okay, and if I send you the link right now of you saying you're in favor of that, would you concede to that, or no, you still didn't say that?
Well, if you do have a clip of me saying invasive species, then I probably misspoke, but I said odd order predators.
Okay, and you realize animals die from meat production, right?
Yeah.
So can I be hunting, like I'm in Texas, I can hunt like wild boar? Wouldn't that be more, I'd be doing more, that's more moral than being vegan, because animals are going to die from meat production.
Well, so the only thing I'm interested in is not violating rights. So as far as committing more good, assuming wild boar are violating the rights of other animals, they are omnivorous, correct? So if they are hunting and killing other animals, then I wouldn't have a problem with that.
Yeah, so because I remember, I think on the Kick stream yesterday, you said like there's no one good justification, because that's me personally. Is there anything wrong with that?
Yeah, so assuming these wild boar are carnivorous, then I wouldn't have a problem with it.
And do you think aren't I reducing suffering more than you? Because your animals die from meat production.
So possibly, but probably not.
I could be more moral by eating meat, though.
Okay, like what point are you trying to make?
So you can eat meat and still be more moral than a regular vegan.
be vegan if you're only killing odd order predators.
Yeah, so aren't I reducing suffering more than you though? Because you're
If
contributing
you're
to the
only
animal
eating
holocaust.
wild boar, maybe, but the thing is, you're not only eating wild boar, and because
How do you know that?
so few, yeah, because you're full of shit. And
I
because
know a
wheat,
bunch of
yeah, just shut up for a
vegetables.
second. Because things like wheat production is so efficient, and because so few animals actually die in wheat production, you might actually not end up having fewer animal deaths.
Yeah, but you said animal rights. So is it reduced suffering or animal rights?
I said rights,
keep
but you
going-
brought up fucking deaths.
Then why are you bringing up reduced suffering? You're trying to say it's
You're the
reduced
one who
suffering
brought up
pretty much.
reducing suffering.
So I just want to clarify. There's nothing wrong with eating meat, and you can be more moral than a typical vegan.
No, I said there's I said there's an issue with violating the rights
What's
of
the issue?
animals. So if
Yeah,
you're
but
eating
you-
like cows or chickens, that's obviously violating their rights. If you're killing odd order predators, which might include wild boar, then you'd be reducing rights by killing the boar. Or sorry, you'd be preventing rights violations by killing the wild boar. So yeah, it would be vegan to do so, again, assuming the wild boar are odd order predators.
Yeah, so you're proving my point. So I'm a meat eater, but I'm not even kidding. I live in Texas. I own a bunch of wild boar, so I just eat. That's all pretty much my meat intake, and I eat a
Sorry,
bunch of
you're
vegetables as
saying
well.
you own wild boar?
No, I said I hunt. I hunt wild boar.
Okay.
It's like it's really overpopulated over here.
Yeah, I understand that.
So yeah, why don't you eat some wild boar, man? What's wrong with that? Nothing's wrong with that.
Because I don't have an interest in doing that.
But there's no ethical issue though, right?
Yeah, assuming again they're odd order predators. I'm not sure if they are. They might be.
So nothing wrong with eating meat in that scenario,
That's
right?
not what I said. Well, in that scenario, yeah, possibly. Again, if they're odd order predators.
And why wouldn't you want to eat odd order predators?
I don't have an interest. I think meat tastes gross. There's an issue with zoonotic disease transmission. It's not healthy for you. There's a variety of reasons.
So I can eat meat and not be a Nazi.
Sorry?
I can eat meat and not be a Nazi.
Yeah, that is possible.
So all right, thanks for conceding. Have a good one.
I didn't concede to anything, but okay, what a retard. You could eat meat? Like, great attempt at a gotcha. Hey, what's
Hello?
up?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Fuck, dude. Alright.
Canadians love.
I think I'm just gonna give up on life. So, nice knowing you all. Take care.